This is kind of interesting. This guy's a super shill too. But this guy's like one of these, like, you know, these people that they play this, like, he's like a special forces guy, right? He's got a YouTube channel. So he's obviously a shill. Valhalla is a pagan myth, right? Some wicked pagan myth. And then this thing is weird. Look at how it's like, look at this symbol back here, man. This is very Freemasonic. I'm sorry. So I don't know what the deal is with this guy too much. I've seen a few of his videos.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And if you didn't see a couple days ago, Sean Ryan put out some spicy tweets claiming that he's not so sure America is the good guy anymore. Oof. But is he actually wrong? All right, first thing we're going to do, put up 2 of these tweets. We're going to look about 4 of these throughout the video, but I need you guys to have some context of what we're going to be talking about right up front. All right, so let's check these 2 tweets out first. First thing Sean says, I brought to light how we are sending $40 to $87 million to the TB for about a year now. We can never put together why the U.S. would be funding the T word after fighting it for 20 years. As it turns out, it was for the opium trade. I've said it several times before. I'm not so sure we are the good guys anymore. Probably haven't been in a long time. Oof. Pretty bold claims there. All right, let's check out the next one. All right, here it says they were driving the app.
Why are they talking about this? Look, people have been talking about this for like, at least, like, I mean, this story came out. The story about how the Americans were funding or were basically helping the Afghan warlords to produce and sell heroin, right? The American forces were doing that. This story has been out for like almost 14 years, probably, at least, or around there, at least, you know? And they're still doing it or whatever. Okay, well, that, like, everybody knows this already. Why are you talking about this? Talk about Gaza, man, or something. Anyway, talk about anything.
Afghan Taliban warlords keep the drugs flowing. That's what the U.S. Institute of Peace payments were for. All right, now you guys know I am unapologetically American. Always take.
See that? See, he always does this. I noticed this guy always does this. Let's just do this. Like, I'm unapologetically American. Why you put your finger like that? What is that?
Side of almost everything, and I'm going to tell you right up front, everything Sean's saying here is objectively true. Okay, and how do I know that? Because I watched this with my own eyes.
He's pointing to the one. He's pointing to the eye, right? He's pointing to the eye. That's like the signal. I think that's what it is. Maybe just like hand to the face type of thing, but I'm not too sure. But I think he's pointing to the eye to say, "Hey, one eye, guys."
Participated it indirectly, as did a lot of other Green Berets in a lot of ways. Okay, so, and I'm going to walk you guys through how this whole system of warlords and bribery and all.
See, even that, like, why does he put his hand like that? It's weird, dude. Oh, I'll just walk you through the whole system, guys. What? But this Valhalla thing, and it's a skull. It's a skull. Is that a skull? It is, right? Wicked, dude. These guys are wicked, man. This probably some kind of this. Look at this symbol, man. It looks like some kind of like Aleister Crowley like hexagram weird thing, yeah.
Because yes, this is what we do. When you think about warlords, what do warlords provide? A bunch of soldiers, right? And who trains those soldiers? Green Berets. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. Oh, and then at the end of the video, guys, we are going to look at the moral dilemma sort of here of Sean's actual statement, which is America actually the good guys anymore? And I need you guys to think a little bit more elevated.
Yeah, there's many things that demonstrate the Trinity. Like I say, the Matthew 28, 28:19, you know, baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Jesus's baptism. You see the Son, the Father, and the Holy Ghost all together. But of course, there's no explicit. It's never explicitly outlined the way these people would like, right? Just like Bible for life. If the thing doesn't literally say God is 3 persons in one God, if it doesn't literally say that, they don't believe it, you know? But then they believe all this other weird stuff. Who knows what they believe, you know? Or what? I don't know. Typical, or what is that typical? Del Rey, what do you believe, bro? Let's talk. Get this settled.
Than usual, all right? Don't think in the simple terms of what most human beings do, which is because they're so accustomed to stories, which is there's good guy, bad guy, hero, villain, all right? We're talking about nation states. This isn't black and white. It's all gray. Okay, we're gonna talk about it at the end. But first, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely helps the video.
It's not black and white. It's all gray. This is how they get you to think. They want you to think that you can't have an objective morality. It's all gray. There is no right and wrong, guys. There's no good guys and bad guys, guys. but just support America anyway. Even though we're just, I'm about to admit to you that we're not good. I'm about to admit to you that we supported drug dealers and we looked the other way while they were raping little kids. He's gonna tell you this right now, right? That's this story. And like I say, this story is very old. It's like almost more than a decade old. Okay, but they're acting like they're revealing this thing to you, and he's gonna tell you this stupid, this like it's ridiculous. But basically, what he's saying is it's all great. There's no right and wrong, guys. It's all gray. We just got to do what we got to do. We got to follow orders. We got to do what we got to do.
Jump right into it. All right, right out the gate, paying off warlords to facilitate the opium trade.
Yeah.
Did this happen? Yes, happened forever, and it's happened again. We're going to get into the history all the way back to Vietnam, but sort of the way it was working or worked in Afghanistan, very, very tribal nation. Okay, so you have warring factions, different tribes, you have warlords, chiefs, whatever you want to call them, in charge of regions, in charge of vast area of lands, and with them, obviously, sort of like a feudal system, they have tons of young soldiers at their disposal as well. Okay, so why was that important in the early days of the war? Is that we needed to have soldiers to help to basically build the ANA, the Afghan National Army, and the ANP, the police forces. We needed soldiers and troops, and who had them? The warlords. All right, so what we did was paid tens of millions of dollars to these warlords in exchange for, again, essentially.
God does not mean the Almighty. Where are you getting that from? They call him that. That's his name. What are you talking about, man? Anyway, this is dumb too. I was gonna say something. I forgot now what he was saying, but anyway, this is just ridiculous.
We needed soldiers and troops, and who had them? The warlords.
Oh yeah. We need soldiers and troops. So I guess that means we have to basically help these guys sell drugs. Like this is what they do. This is what they did. We had to. I mean, look, we've already invaded this country, this sovereign nation that they didn't even do anything to us. We've already done that, so we might as well just okay. I guess we have to train a new army for them and create a police force for them. I guess we have to. That means we have to help these drug dealers. Like this is a story they're telling you. You know, it's ridiculous, dude. But like these people, like this is. I mean, anyway, with the whole drugs thing, like Afghanistan, they're obviously one of the major sources of heroin in the world, right? Afghanistan, and then before the Taliban, they had their drug trade. When the Taliban came in, the drug trade was down to like almost like 10% of what it was before. Then when the US Army went in there, that year it went back up to record highs. And it still remains at like record highs as far as I know. I haven't looked at it recently, but it's ridiculous, dude. These people literally it's almost like they did it because of the heroin thing. Because the Taliban, they went and cut off the heroin, and then there was the 9/11 thing, and then they were like, we heard that OBL is in your mountains, and then the Taliban literally offered. They said, look, if you guys can show us evidence that OBL was part of 9/11, I mean Osama bin Laden, right? Then if you can show us evidence, we'll give you him. That's what they said. They offered that to George Bush, okay? And Bush was like, no. You don't get to just tell us what to do. We're just gonna invade you now. If you don't give it to us right now without any evidence, just because we told you to, we're gonna invade you. Now, if you're a sovereign country, right? And you have people in your borders, and some other country tells you to just give those people to you without any evidence of any crime they committed, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's like you're not a sovereign country at that point. You know? So of course they didn't do it. And of course then America went and occupied that country for 20 years. And again, as I was telling you, the Taliban had cut down heroin production to like 10%. These guys went in that year, it went to record highs that year.
All right, so what we did was paid tens of millions of dollars to these warlords in exchange for.
I'll keep you in your prayers, bro. Right? And keep you in my prayers, bro.
Train, advise, equip, right? Bring them arms, all those sorts of different things. And how this facilitates into the drug trade, like Sean.
Hang on. Let's hear this.
What we did was paid tens of millions of dollars to these warlords in exchange for, again, essentially soldiers, right? And then we would train, advise, equip, right? Bring them arms, all those sorts of different things.
Imagine that. Imagine that. They're giving these people tens of millions of dollars. They had their own troops guarding the fields of the poppy fields of these drug dealers. These wicked. It's like a cartel. You know how you guys have the cartels in Mexico, and they're like, oh, these cartels, they're wicked. We gotta stop the cartels. And then now they're using the special forces to fight the cartels now, right? How long until these guys are out there growing for the cartels in Mexico? These guys, those Afghan warlords, it's the same thing. It's a cartel. It's the exact same thing, man. Okay, they're a little bit different politically situation, but it's all the same thing. It's just these wicked strong men with enough like army and enough weapons to just control the region, and then they just deal drugs. That's what it is. It's exactly the same as cartels in Mexico. And these guys went there. They were literally guarding their fields. They're like giving them millions of dollars. Ridiculous, dude. This guy's trying to say, "Oh well, this is how you have to do it, guys. It's the way it is. It's a gray area. We don't know. It's never black and white, guys. You know."
And how this facilitates into the drug trade, like Sean mentions, is you have to understand about Afghanistan that opium is Afghanistan's number one resource. It is what they do there. Why? Well, over 80% of the world gets their opium from Afghanistan. That's why people have been trying to invade Afghanistan for 5,000 years. All right, so what does that also mean? Well, we are there.
That's why people. This guy just told you that's why people have been trying to invade Afghan for 5,000 years. Afghanistan. Did people have been using opium for 5,000 years? What's this guy talking about? 5,000 years. Does this guy even know how long 5,000 years is? What is this guy talking about, dude? Anyway, these people are idiots, dude.
There providing protection, building up police forces, building up the ANA army, and what do the warlords get in return?
No, of course, cartels are wicked beyond belief. There's no doubt about that. These, what I'm saying is, these Afghan warlords are no better than the cartels. So, when America goes there and guards their poppy fields for 20 years, and basically helps them sell drugs to the, like he just said, 80% of the world gets their opium from Afghanistan. The American government was guarding their poppy fields for 20 years. They would not be able to have the supply. They would not be able to produce that opium for the entire world if it wasn't for the American army helping them, giving them millions of dollars, guarding their fields, and looking the other way when they rape little boys. That's what these people were doing. This guy's trying to tell you, oh, it's a gray area. It's a gray area, guys. You know, there's no black and white in statecrafts. So ridiculous.
Massive opium farms and regions, right? And so, ipso facto, U.S. Special Forces would help facilitate that. And we're going to get into a whole section on opium because I can tell you guys, I saw thousands of pounds of it while I was there. Full transparency in this video. I'm going to tell you guys about that in a minute. But I mean, we've been doing this since Vietnam, guys. I mean, my dad was basically doing this, 46 Company, bringing in Laotian soldiers from the CIA, right, to train them to send to the meat grinder in Vietnam and basically providing protection to opium farms in exchange for that, right? This is kind of just normal operating behavior. Is that bad? Is it good?
Normal operating behavior. No, I mean, look, they have no shame, man. They have no shame. Like, I can't believe these people just look back at Vietnam. This guy's looking back at Vietnam and saying, well, hey, it's a gray area. We don't know. What are we going to do, guys? This is how it is, you know? Like, literally, like Vietnam, you know? Like, everybody knows that was just wicked. This is illegal wickedness, okay? They never even declared war. They just go in there. Oh, my God. I can't believe these people. This guy's trying to tell you, oh, it's a gray area. It's a gray area, guys, you know? Wow, dude.
Is it good? Again, I don't know. It depends on what your moral dilemmas are. All right, and when I talk about warlords, guys, I can say that I've seen this because, yes, I've been to warlord mansions. I've had dinners with these warlords while I was there. So, I mean, right outside of Kandahar.
See, why does he always does this thing with his face? Like, is that like a normal thing to do? I'm telling you, he's doing some kind of Freemason hand sign there with that thing, man. That's weird. This guy's wicked, man. This guy's trying to tell you, oh, I had dinner with warlords all the time. This is how it is. That's the job. That's the job. I guess I couldn't take another job. You know, I couldn't just quit and just go become like a work at a tire shop. No, I had to do this. This is what I had to do. I had to watch while these guys just rape little kids and sell drugs and whatever, you know. Wicked, man. Wicked.
Kandahar Air Base, which was a large ANA Army base right next to it, and also where the third SOC, which was the commandos we work with, their compound was, and one of their main leaders was a warlord who had a giant mansion right down the street, right outside of Kandahar Air Force Base, that Americans paid for, pay him tens of millions of dollars to basically help provide soldiers for the war effort and for the ANA Army and all these different things. Okay, so I've literally
So what what now he's telling you is they felt the need after invading the sovereign country, which did nothing to America, right? After invading it, occupying it, and now they decided to create an army and a police force for them from these child soldiers, from these drug dealers, right? Now he's telling you like, oh, we also had to give the tens of millions of dollars in, and you know, I stayed in his mansion that he bought with the tens of millions of dollars of your money, Americans, that they gave them, because that's just what you have to do. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. It's a gray area. It's just the way it is, guys. Yeah. So it's like, oh, it was my job. I was just following orders.
sat there and broke bread with warlords, okay, that we were paying tens of millions of dollars to. Eyewitness to it. This happens. All right, it kind of insinuates here that we were paying.
He's not even going to talk about the bachi thing or whatever. You know that thing? Have you guys ever heard about that? There's this thing in Afghanistan where they rape little boys, and these guys, the soldiers used to see it, and they get like PTSD from this, right? But they weren't allowed to say anything, so they had to just look the other way, or sometimes they would just. They can't do anything. They're under orders not to say anything about the bachi thing or whatever it is. They're under orders not to guard the poppy fields. You know, it's so ridiculous, dude. Like people don't even know how evil the American government is.
We were paying off all these warlords explicitly for the opium trade. It's really that was one.
This guy's a Green Beret. All right, he's a Green Beret from America. Now he's got his YouTube channel because he's part of their intelligence, their like propaganda thing. So now he comes on YouTube and he tells their propaganda, and this is part of it, where he's defending them from the charges of this guy Mike Benz, who's another one of these people that interviews these special ops people on YouTube. And he's defending him from this guy who's saying that we're no longer the good guys, so this guy's defending him. And it's just propaganda, bro. I don't know his name.
Of the reasons we were doing this, right? One of the bigger reasons was culturally in Afghanistan.
Valhalla VFT.
These warlords are going to take, they're going to take the offer from whoever's the highest bidder, right? So a lot of times we were paying people off for their loyalty, if you want to call it that, right? Obviously, that loyalty disappears very fast when the money dries up, but we would rather have access to your army than fight against it. Okay? But again, who benefited that? Well, the warlords who own all those regions, and massive amounts of opium are being farmed and trafficked from. All right, now we're going to jump into the opium trade next. But before we do that, guys,
you really got to wonder, guys, what is the purpose of this? Why would they have to do any of this? Why? You know? Like supposedly they were going there to catch Osama bin Laden. And apparently they couldn't get that done in the first like 15 years or whatever. They finally got him, killed him or whatever. They still never left Afghanistan. Right? Like it's ridiculous. Why would you invade a whole country? Imagine invading a whole country and occupying it for 20 years just because of one small group of criminals that are hiding in the mountains. That the leaders of the country told you they would give you these people if you just only proved that they were actually responsible for what you're saying, right? And they never did. They just said, "Oh, you're not going to give it to us without any proof? Okay, then we're going to invade you. We're going to invade another sovereign country." Completely illegal. They never even declared war. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous what happened there. And then now he's trying to justify that after they did that, the illegal war, illegal invasion of a sovereign country to catch like a small group of criminals. They instead they occupy the whole country, and then they start guarding these people's drug operations, and giving them money, and all this stuff. And they're telling you, oh, well, this is what we had to do. Well, I'm guaranteeing you, there's people in they're making money. They're part of it. They're part of the drug dealing. They're part of it, man.
Guys, I got a brand new partner I'm very, very excited about. I absolutely love their product. And if you're into working out, you're going to love it too. Check this out. All right, guys, we're back with our partners at Tasty Gains, and they've got a new product. So you work out gummies. Now, if you're like me,
look how showy these guys are, man. Look at these wicked. These guys are like, oh, we're the soldiers, guys. We're like, you know, honor the what do they say, like honor the troops or whatever. This people's wicked, dude. I'm not saying like I respect veterans, man. I'm not trying to say I don't hate veterans, you know, but people like this are wicked beyond belief.
Gains gummies. Now let's hit this workout. All right, honestly, guys, I love that product. Awesome pre-workout. If you like pre-workout, just go get you a couple bottles. You'll thank me later. Now, let's talk about the opium trade, right? Okay, so like I said, Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires for a reason. It has been invaded, I don't know how many times, but over and over and over again for the last 2,000-3,000 years. Why? You think, well, there's nothing there. No, because over 80% of the world.
This guy doesn't know how many times Afghanistan was invaded. Imagine going to a country, like, you're just going to go and invade the country. He doesn't learn anything about the history. He's just going, oh, it's been invaded for 5,000 years, he was saying before. Now he kind of says something more reasonable, 2,000 or 3,000 years. He doesn't know the difference, whether it's 2,000 years or 3,000 years. He doesn't know. Like, these people are wicked, dude. They just don't care. They don't care. They don't care about anything. They're just psychos, you know? This guy's like a psychopath.
The world's opium comes from there. It is a highly desirable resource, obviously, and has been for a long, long time. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, where do you think they get all of this from? So, I'll tell you guys.
Now, don't humor IJN when he's pulling this trolling stuff. What he's saying here, dude. Do not humor this guy, okay? Because it's just gonna continue to do this foolishness. It's not funny, IGN. I don't think these things are funny when you do this stuff. I don't like it. I personally don't like it. It's not funny, okay? But you can do whatever you want. I think I've already told you that I don't like it, but whatever. Keep doing it. I don't know why you keep doing it, but
guys, when I would go out on operations, because we were operating in southern Afghanistan, right along what's called sort of the Opium Silk Road, which runs from Pakistan into Kandahar through Helmand out past Farah into Iran. Okay, that's where a ton of this trafficking goes. I mean, there would be missions we would go out and we would find 200 to 300 pounds of the stuff on targets. Okay, I'm talking 10 to 15 pound bags, and we would find 10, 20, 30 of them, right? So, more than fill up this big on this table, right? So you think about pure opium. And, not that it's funny, but a lot of different times, stories, right? We gather these bags up as we go compound to compound. You got 10, 12, 15, 20 bags, and you get to the final end of the objective, right? We're figuring out everything we have, and I've got marked down, we've got 20 bags. Talk to my Afghan team leader, looking there, there's only 17 bags there. And I'm like, where's the other 3 bags? Oh, we only had 17. It's like, no, we had 20. Nope, we had 17. And it's like, oh, all right, whatever, man, your country, do what you got to do. Where's that 50 pounds of it go? I don't know. You tell me. The rest of it gets handed off to the Afghan police, and you can imagine where that goes. Okay, so
now you know what? Like, I get it. Like, in a war, I get that those things happen in war. I'm not trying to put him down for that specific thing that he just said, but the fact that this guy acts like, oh, it's just how it is. This is how it is. I couldn't do anything. I just had to go along with it. But you could quit your job, dude. You could go get another job. You could just do whatever. You could he could call the press and tell them about all the illegal stuff he's seeing. Instead, he just goes, "Well, I got a job to do, so I got to look the other way." This is what they act like, Now he's literally admitting to his criminal behavior, right? And no one's gonna do anything about it. He's never gonna get charged. Nobody cares. He's literally admitting to crimes right now, He's not gonna. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing whatsoever.
Yes, this was absolutely normal part of everyday operations while I was there. So, like it mentions here, were we paying off warlords and things like that to help facilitate the drug trade? Yes, we were for 20 years. Now, and you can tell now that we are gone, what has happened. These are some things that people haven't really thought about. Now, if you look at why has the rise in fentanyl, the fentanyl crisis, sort of started right along the exact same time as when we left Afghanistan. Well,
Oh, are you serious this time? Wow, that's interesting, bro. Nah, he's not. You're not serious, man. This guy's not serious. My job requires me to show though. As I said, I did not say. I think I repeatedly said that I respect the U.S. troops. I'm not against all U.S. troops. I said that. So I am serious. LOL, dude. It's not funny, man. It's not funny. Nobody can get it. Glory thinks you're serious. So does Real Truth. And then we get concerned. We're like, oh, we don't want because you're like new to the faith. We want to make sure you're spiritually kind of nurtured, right? So that's why people take it seriously when you do stuff like that, right? I am serious, LOL. What are you serious about? What's serious? You're serious you're a troop? Okay. I already said I don't hate the troops. I said that. So why are you saying like and why now you put like dude, just chill, just like whatever, dude. Whatever, man. Look, IGN, I like you. We're brothers, okay? But this is not cool, man. The way you act on here sometimes. I don't know. I guess maybe other people don't care. I don't know, man. I don't like it. Like nobody gets your joke over a comment on this YouTube thing. We don't know whether you're joking or not. Everybody here thinks you're serious. Okay, if you are serious, what are you serious about? I already said it. I don't hate the troops. I'm not hating on you. I just hate on this guy. He is the shill. I'm not saying every troop is a shill. Anyway, dude, just stop it, man. Just stop it, dude.
Think about it. Think about this way. Fentanyl is synthetic heroin, right? At the end of the day. So now that we've left, who has moved into Afghanistan? China. China now has access and has always wanted access to all of that drug trade, all of that opium. And so now that they have control of that, what can they then supply for a way cheaper price? Synthetic. And that's why you're seeing that now having taken over in the United States. All right. So unfortunately and ultimately, was Sean right about this stuff? Yes, this is objectively true. This is exactly what we were doing while we were there. Now, does that make America necessarily the bad guy? That's sort of the moral quandary that we need to talk about. Okay. When I said before, we're so accustomed to looking at things in black and whites. Okay. If X is the good guy, Y must be the bad guy. Right? If America is the villain, somebody else has to be the hero. That's unfortunately not the truth, not the way things work. And I want to explain this. Okay. So let's look at Iraq. Should America have invaded Iraq and removed Saddam from power? We know ultimately now, in hindsight 2020, huge mistake.
Now you can have a brewery, man. You can have a brewery. It's just, but if you feel convicted about it, it's all about like you know how Paul says, "Whatsoever is not of faith is sin." So if you feel convicted about it, if you feel like your brewery operation is something that you feel personally that God wouldn't like it, you don't think God wants you to do it, shouldn't do it. But if you feel, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with having a brewery. So if you have a brewery and you don't feel that way, you don't feel the way Glory felt, it's totally fine. Yeah.
Let's look at Iraq. Should America have invaded Iraq and removed Saddam from power? We know ultimately now, in hindsight 2020.
Why are you looking at Iraq? Look at Afghanistan. This guy now he's going to Iraq. Why are you looking at Iraq? Look at Afghanistan. You just invaded a country for 20 years, a sovereign country that did nothing to America. You invaded it for 20 years. You guarded their poppy fields, the number one producer of opium in the whole world. You helped them to produce that opium. You basically supplied the world with opium for 20 years. You're paying them millions of dollars. While you're guarding their fields, you're paying them millions of dollars. You're looking the other way while they rape little kids. And now you're like, oh well, what are you gonna do? It's a gray area. We can't do anything. And then he's gonna go, oh, should we have invaded Iraq? Well, did you even ask the question of should we have invaded Afghanistan? Did you ask that question? That's a valid question in this context here. Yeah. Anyway,
America is the villain. Somebody else has to be the hero. That's unfortunately not the truth. Not the way things work. And I want to explain this. Okay. So let's look at Iraq.
no. There's no sin in having a brewery. You can have a brewery, but every business is its own thing, right? And a person in their own business, if they feel convicted that there's something wrong with this, in his situation, he felt like there was something that was convicting him. He didn't feel right, so he stopped it. He's not trying to say that no one can have a brewery. No Christian should ever have a brewery or anything. He's not saying that, you know. But in his situation, he felt that way, and that's what it says. Like it says, "Let every man be persuaded in his own mind." You know. And whatsoever is not of faith is sin. The funding from the U.S. Funding from the U.S. has been very helpful, but it hasn't been substantial in certain countries. People go back to no matter what. The funding from the U.S. What do you mean, like the funding to third world countries? It's just bribery for the governments. It just gives them control over the governments. It's done nothing to do with helping people. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a beer. There's a culture and all the relationships that still falling apart around me, including some of my close friendships. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like in your situation, you felt like that situation wasn't right for you. You felt like it wasn't, but it's not the very act of owning a brewery or whatever. That's not itself inherently sinful, obviously, right?
Have invaded Iraq and removed Saddam from power. We know ultimately now, in hindsight 2020, huge mistake. Destabilized the region dramatically. We messed that one up bad. Okay, so let's say we're the bad guys for that. Does that make Saddam the good guy? No.
Hold on, wait. So he's not even going to address the question of should they have invaded Afghanistan. He's talking about Iraq now. Iraq was later. Like, can you just answer the question? Should you have invaded Afghanistan? He just he just told you all the stuff that they did in Afghanistan. Like 20 years of guarding drug dealers' fields. He doesn't say anything. Anyway, this is so dumb.
Accustomed to looking at things in black and whites. Okay, if X is the good guy, Y must be the bad guy. Right? If America is the villain, somebody else has to be the hero. That's unfortunately not the truth. Not the way things work. I don't explain this. Okay, so let's look at Iraq. Should America?
Hold on, what did you say? Sorry, I keep looking at your comments.
To looking at things in black and whites. Okay, if X is the good guy, Y must be the bad guy. Right? If America.
Oh yeah. Again, yeah, like I was saying. So it's no black and white. There's no black and white. There's no right and wrong, guys. It's all relative. Morality is relative, and there's no black and white. It's all gray area, and we just gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta follow orders. Wickedness, bro.
When somebody else has to be the hero. That's unfortunately not the truth. Not the way things work. I don't explain this. Okay, so let's look at Iraq. Should America have invaded Iraq and removed Saddam from power? We know ultimately now, in hindsight 2020, huge mistake. Destabilized the region dramatically. We messed that one up bad. Okay, so let's say we're the bad guys.
Destabilize the region. They destabilize the region. That's his problem with it. They destabilize the region. Like hundreds of thousands of people died because they decided to invade another sovereign country that did nothing to them, right? It's like, oh, we destabilized the region. Look, dude, hundreds of thousands of people died. Little kids, dude. What are you doing? What are you talking about? How dare this person?
Does that make Saddam the good guy? No, of course not. Horrible, evil human being, especially his sons, 10 times even worse. All right, so you've got bad and badder in those cases. And so if you want to make the argument, right, okay, well, if America is the bad guy.
Now he's trying to say that, okay, because Saddam is bad, so we got to take him out. There's bad guys, we took him out. So at least we did the one good thing, except for the hundreds of thousands of people that died. Like 500,000 people died in the Iraq war, Wicked, dude. Imagine people think like this. I can't even imagine this, dude. I guess they have to tell themselves something to justify their lives, but this is so wicked.
Bad guys in this situation, who's the good guy? The TBs? These guys? You're gonna make the argument those are the good guys? No.
So nobody's making that argument. Nobody is making that argument. Would those guys exist if you didn't invade those countries and occupy them for 20 years? Would ISIS even exist if you guys didn't do that? What are you talking? Why would we ever say those guys are good? Nobody said that. They're just trying. This is confusion, man. This is what they do. Like, hey, guys, look, we're not ISIS, so therefore we're not the bad guys. Like, dude, you just told us how you were guarding the poppy fields. You just told us how you invaded Iraq. Wow, dude. He didn't even talk about all this stuff. He didn't talk about all this stuff. He just talked about the poppy fields thing. There's tons of stuff, man. They shouldn't even invade the country. Anyway, so we
make that argument either. Okay, so the way I see it is, it also depends on what team you're on. Okay, if you're American, you're going to look at things that America does for its own personal benefit as good. If you're not, and you're on the receiving end of that, if you're an Iraqi, you're probably going to look at them as the bad guys. All right, so a lot of it is perspective and where you stand. I will say this. You know, been to a lot of countries, especially here in the Middle East, and I'll tell you this: I've never seen American soldiers strapping toddlers to their chest for body armor. I've never seen American soldiers
Wow,
barricading
dude.
themselves
That's
in
what this
buildings.
guy's gonna go. That's what this guy's gonna go. Now, first of all, do we even know any of those stories are true? Oh, they put babies on their chest. Really? Really? That's what you're gonna tell us now? So dumb. This is what they do. They just make up stories. How do I know any of that's true? You didn't even talk about all the like little kids getting raped. You guys watch little kids getting raped. You didn't do anything. Anyway, this is wicked, man.
With women and children in front of the doors.
Let's move on from this, right? This guy sucks, dude. Does this make America the bad guy? Of course it does.
Okay, 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 okay. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Studying the Bible with Mike and Pat. These other YouTubers are just so trash. Hit the thumbs up if you wanna support. Go follow Mike as he follows the Lord. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 You better watch out, Mike's calling out the shills. If you're not free grace, you need to sit down and chill. We're not hyper grace, you know we keep it real. Eternally secure, you know that we're sealed. We don't back low, we're not workspace heretics. Mike's not in it for the money, trying to get a lick. They out here selling their souls for a couple clicks. Becoming Freemason so they can't just get rich. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Shout out to Mike and Pat. Check out his channel, Toronto Bible Study. Subscribe and like.